going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Shiny Shuriken video, and we are back with the SRL, the Shadow Realm Draft League, and the series is returning from Season 2. We are in Season 3 now. We are coming back with the weekly draft analysis videos that Bishmii and me are rocking. We got Bishmii on the call. Bishmii, you want to say hi?
Hey, what's going on, guys? Glad to be on another Shiny Shuriken video. Back at it again with the SRL weekly recaps. I'm looking forward to this season, Season 3.
Yeah, it's going to be a strong season, I think, for both of us. We've got some very different looking teams than Season 2. Both of us have our draft analysis recaps up on our channels, so make sure you guys go check those out. The Fargo Phalanx built a very defensive, bulky team, and the New York Nickets have the Sand Core with Excadrill, so it's going to be a different season, this one, and I'm excited for it.
Yeah, me too. Not ever using a Sand team. I'm looking forward to trying to find the ins and outs and what I could do, find some wins. Of course, I'm going to try to be doing a lot of tech like I did last season. And I'm looking forward to yours, what you could do with such a great team with access to almost everything, like hazard, cleric options, and bulk with offense. It's like you got it all. Like the Golden State Warriors.
If we could perform like them, I hope so. That'd be cool. Yeah, it's going to be a tough team for opponents to break through, and we'll jump into that matchup in a sec here. But first, we got to talk about the power rankings. That's a pivotal piece to any draft league. And the SRL is changing up their approach to the power rankings. So real quick plug, the SRL itself, the Shadow Realm Draft League, does have a YouTube itself. So that link will be down below, just like Bishmii's link for his channel. So guys, make sure you go over there, check that out. They're going to have weekly content, pick'ems, power rankings, things like that. So there's some good content that's going to be out there, including the power rankings, which are already out for our preseason analysis. So we're going to tell you guys a little bit about those. We don't have the commentary and kind of all of that stuff that we had last season. So just real quick, we'll bring it up here. We'll start out with Bishmii's. This is just kind of a screenshot of the overall standing from his preseason assessment. Bishmii, I'll let you take it away and talk about where you landed on the preseason power rankings.
So I believe I'm at 11.
Yep.
And it's like, man, why am I missing the playoffs? Like, I was in the playoffs last season. I believe I'm gonna make it this season. I'm upset with the power rankings. I'm gonna blow them out the water. Too bad after this first week I won't be able to get the first seed, but I'm definitely making it. Even if I have to step over everyone, even you, Shiny. But I mean, it's all right. They looked at my team. Their assessment was good. They said that my team isn't very fast, except in sand, which is going to be my my advantage state. But outside of the sand, my team is kind of like average. So it's all right to be on the lower half. I just gotta show why I gotta move up in the upcoming battles.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I've heard it said repeatedly from a lot of different people that it's up to us to change our situation in the power rankings. So it's just an assessment, and especially from a preseason standpoint, always tough to judge a team. Getting ranked at 11th is tough, really, because the sand core that you have is a little bit of a weaker sand core. It's not the strongest. It's not Lycanroc, Excadrill, Hippowdon, Gigalith. It's just Gigalith and Excadrill, kind of.
Gigalith and Excadrill.
And then I got Stoutland as well in the bag. So it's not
I got sniped off of Lycanroc.
Yeah, it's not the toughest of sand cores, but it's still there. But their assessment is right. The speed just kind of comes up with a lackluster, which maybe gets you a few slots down. But I don't know, 11th, kind of low. We'll see, though. We'll see. All right, let's take a look at my preseason power ranking. Now, if you remember, let's call out a little controversy that I caused. I was not thrilled with my power ranking in Season 2 from a preseason assessment. I had the #1 draft pick, and I went with Mimikyu. I don't rock those legendaries mythicals. So the number 1 draft pick went to Mimikyu because I think Mimikyu is one of the most fantastic Pokemon in a draft perspective. Lost a little bit of ground now that the G-Maxers have their ability
that they don't care about it.
Yeah.
They got their mold breaker abilities.
Yeah, basically.
Moves.
But I liked my first round pick, and I thought I had a really strong team. And there was a commentary piece of that I didn't have any power hitters, which we had to rectify. So, but this season, let's take a look. I actually landed at the number 9 spot. So let me bring that up. All right, so here we have my preseason power ranking assessment. My pick of the draft was Chansey. I came in, like I said, the 9th, and then they have me making the playoffs but exiting first round. So,
what a commentary, just not like entering the power rankings, but exiting first round.
Yeah, I mean, they gave a very accurate assessment of my team, actually, commenting on just kind of the overall complete situation that I have going with my team. Very bulky, but I have hazards. I have hazard control. I can set screens. I can set tailwinds. I can run pranksters. I have multiple pranksters. I have a lot of different options from an attack, from an offensive standpoint. So it's a very, very complete team. So I am actually surprised to see it ranked 9th and not kind of closer to the top 5. I would say that I have more power and it's going to be tougher for opponents to beat me than they think. So, but it's okay. I'm all right with this. First round exit. All right. I mean,
they had to throw in a little shade.
Appreciate you telling me that I'm going to make playoffs. I think that opponents are going to have a really tough time dealing with this team.
Yeah, and I definitely agree. You have a lot of bulk, Chansey, Milotic. Mammal Swine can be very hard to break also.
Doublade, Noctowl.
Yep.
It's a fat team.
I like how your team has that offense and defense balance. Like you have Heliolisk. Mammal Swine can also be a crazy attacker. Grimmsnarl, prankster, screens. You also Surfetch. Your team is very, like you said, complete.
Yeah. So both of us fall a little bit in the power rankings, and we're kind of on the lower half. There's 16 teams in the league, so both Bishmii and I are in the bottom half of the power rankings. I'm right there, cusp in that top half, but we've got some work ahead of us to prove them wrong, right?
Yes, sir. We got 11 weeks to go ahead and climb to the top.
Yep. It'll be a fun season. So week 1 has, of course, concluded, and that means we've got some matches for you guys to walk through. So let's jump into Bishmii's matchup right now. All right, guys. So we've got Bishmii's play here, and I'm gonna let him walk you guys through what happened.
Yeah. So first off, this was a recording. It wasn't the live battle because I had forgotten to click record, so we had to recreate the whole battle. But we got a lot of the turns correct. Here I decided to do a hazard stack team. So, Copperajah with the steel spikes, along with stealth rocks, anything coming in is going to take a lot of damage. So yeah, I just set off my stealth rocks at the start. He brings in Quillfish, and fans of the SRL Season 2 has seen this before, Quillfish coming in on Copperajah. I don't know if you remember Shibby versus Squid.
Yep.
And then, what was it? The Quillfish would go for a lot of pain splits on Copperajah, and Copperajah really couldn't touch it. But the Earthquake does a lot of damage. It does almost half. So I decided that I could get up my steel spikes here and then KO it with a max quake immediately after. I want to say he's setting up the spikes on my side, but I wasn't really concerned about that because the only Pokemon that takes good damage is Excadrill and Stoutland. What do you think of this Destiny Bond play? Because I was yo.
That was so lucky for you to go for the Steel Surge instead of the Quake.
Yeah.
I'm not sure though. Destiny Bond doesn't work on Gmax or Dynamax, so
I'm not sure.
It's interesting play if he assumed that your Earthquake was going to do enough. It didn't look like it was going to, but I do like the multiple hazard settings. You guys know that I'm not really a hazards player, but it's showing to be just so impactful on these battles on how many hazards, and the Steel Surge spikes are so brutal.
Yeah, because Inteleon comes in taking Stealth Rocks and then Steel Spikes. Who else? Heracross. So like that's just a lot of free damage, which is great. I predicted him to just go for a rapid spin, so I wanted to set up my Steel Spikes again. And I just want to make a comment here. This Claydol is behind a Reflect, and I'm at -1. And you seen how much damage that did? Like Copperajah hits like a truck.
And a resisted attack. Oh yeah, for sure. That Copperajah can do so much work in a match, and I do like your play, but I actually really like Bladdle's play as well, to know that you can still set it up as your Gigantamaxed, and so waiting it out. Good play.
Yeah, just setting up the Reflect, not to preemptively rapid spin. I brought in Mantine because I knew Mantine could take a hit because I was especially defensive, so I figured that he would hit me, and I wanted Copperajah's attack to go back to normal. Here, I make a great read and go for the Air Slash into Delmise because, Scald is looking very... enticing, so I just go for the Air Slash on his switch to Delmise. Here I want to say I should have just gone for more Air Slashes because he goes for a Power Whip here, and
that Power Whip did so much. I'm really surprised by that.
Yeah, I was like, that's crazy damage. Like, why did I almost got O-code by the Power Whip, but I was just kind of sleeping on Delmise. I didn't want to try and go for a flinch here because that would have been the end of my Mantine. So if he went for another Power Whip, I would have lived it easily with my Rotom-Mow.
Yeah, it's a great movement play. I agree. Maybe the Air Slash could have rolled a flinch and could have gotten a crit, big damage, maybe made it low, but overall it was good preserve of Mantine.
Right, and like I said, this was a recreation of the battle. So here, when I go for Dark Pulse in the actual battle, he missed a Poltergeist, but I got a flinch, so it was fine. It worked out, and he had actually lived from toxic damage. So after that turn, he had brought in Heracross, and I Volt switched on the Heracross.
It looked like this was a tough moment of recreation. It kind of took a little while.
Yes, because like he didn't have his sack, and it was a lot of planning. It was like, what do we do here? So it kind of still worked out though, because I bring in Copperajah,
and it doesn't take too much damage from the Rock Slide. Yeah. I think this recreation point makes sense, going for as little bit as you could. He could have actually gone to a different Pokemon and then actually switched the Heracross in on the Volt Switch.
He would have probably... Well, he could have brought in Claydol to absorb the hit and then bring back in Heracross to take the Volt Switch.
Well, because Delmise went down, he could have actually just brought somebody else in, because you still had to click your Volt Switch. So he actually could have made the switch.
Okay.
Switch.
Yeah.
Instead of having to take additional Rock Slide damage, but it's all right. I mean, it looks like it's pretty minimal damage, so it's not really crazy impactful. And like you said in the next play in the video, the close combat was going to wreck you anyway.
Yeah, and that's what I want to say. I was playing fine until I Volt switched into Copperajah, because he just got decimated. Even though I had that Rock Slide chip, and when we did the battle without a crit, the close combat smoked Copperajah.
For sure.
I was like, oh man, this is gonna be a problem.
Copperajah is a thick boy.
Yo, he got James in the call. What's up, James?
What's up, guys?
So yeah, I want to say letting Copperajah go down was a misplay, because it still had so much work to put in this match, and I could have just brought in Gigalith, set up the sandstorm so that I could eliminate this Heracross because I was sleeping on it a little bit. Not gonna lie, I underestimated the guts boost, and as you can see here, my Gigalith was max defense, and it just shredded Gigalith also. So 2 Pokemon just going down the Heracross.
Yeah. What's your thoughts on it, had you have gone Gigalith right away, taken the close combat, and then gone into Stoutland? Would Stoutland have had enough to take out the Heracross?
Yes, I believe so, because a Facade here being stabbed, while the Heracross is about at half, I think it would have done great damage. Or even, I believe I had, the only move I could have gone for was Facade. In the recreation, in the actual battle though, this is when he brought in Delmise on my Facade. Delmise had died to the sandstorm, and he brought in Claydol, which is where you see here. So the Delmise sack kind of didn't matter in the long run. And I want to say this is where the battle really starts getting out of my hand, because before the battle, I look at Roar, I don't see that it has minus priority, so I figure I'm great. And so what happens is I click Roar here while the Claydol reflects, and in the actual battle, I was like, yo, is this Claydol choice scarfed or something? Why am I going second? And we couldn't recreate that because Roar is just a random switch. So what happened was he set up Reflect, I roared into Inteleon, and then Inteleon was in, he set up the Focus Energy, I roared again, and he switched into Lycanroc, so that's what came in. As you can see here in the recording, he brings in Lycanroc, so I'm like, bro, why am I going second? I'm really confused. The sandstorm is up, and at this point, I'm sitting in front of a Lycanroc, and the battle did not work out after that. As you can see, I hit a Stomping Tantrum in the actual battle, and it did about half, which isn't anything. When Lycanroc has a Swords Dance up, he has the Sucker Punch, close combat. It's so fast, I couldn't outspeed it. And I want to say that was like the rest of the battle there. And that Roar, I want to say like it all because of I clicked Roar. Like if I had if I crunched the Claydol, it might have killed. If I just hit the Inteleon, I would have got good damage because Inteleon is kind of frail. Like I want to say that was just a big misplay.
Yeah, when I started watching your video and watched your team breakdown at the start, I saw the Roar and I was like, that's interesting. I mean, I guess if you predict out switches, but then you're like, you even talked about priority in the video. You're like, this doesn't have any negative priority like Dragon Tail. And I was like, wait a second, it's -6, I think.
He was like, wait, Bishmii, wait. Hold on.
But yeah, I mean, it'd be really cool if we had a move like Roar that wasn't negative priority, so we could, with our super fast mons, kind of force people out.
Right.
But yeah, that was some tough shenanigans. Lycanroc cleaning up the team. How many kills did Lycanroc rack up? 4?
Yeah, 4.
Oof.
And Heracross got 2.
Wow. And then that Thunderfang.
Yo, not that it mattered because my Mantine was at like 15 health, but I had the Wakan berry just in case, and it ate the berry. I think Lycanroc must have ate the berry and then just killed the Mantine because the way it looked like
it ate the berry and then it said yeet.
Yeah. So yeah, a tough week 1. Looking forward to bounce back week 2.
Yeah, that's it was a good match. I think you were playing well up until that Volt Switch. And then a couple of a misplay, and then kind of the misunderstanding on Roar. But I think you had a chance. I think you were still in the battle. I don't think it was by any means a clear-cut case if you had not misplayed on the Roars and stuff. But Yeah, Blattle played very well. Blattle didn't give up any positioning, and made some strong plays as well. So
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that movement in the power rankings. Probably down. Probably, just put me last at this point.
well, that's Bishmii's matchup. So obviously we have to hop into mine, and mine was a very interesting one. Before we get into it, I want to just say that my draft analysis video talked about how I want to improve on my prep and my getting ready for matches. Week 1 wasn't it. I ran out of time. I double booked myself on draft league matches for a single day. I had work, two draft battles, streaming, and getting videos out. So I forgot that I had my SRL match. I didn't have prep. I'll admit I got about 15-ish to 20 minutes kinda in there.
That's all you need.
Where I grabbed my Pokemon out of Pokemon Home and like literally quickly stuffed their faces with vitamins. And I actually ended up forgetting to this is the worst. I forgot to bottle cap my Heliolisk and Xatu that I grabbed from Pokemon Home. So my Heliolisk only had decent, which is 10 or less IVs in special attack, HP, and speed. So,
what the? Yeah.
So those 3 traits were not looking good. I actually did the calcs, and my special attack IV was actually 7 on Heliolisk.
7?
7. Pretty bad. Xatu's special attack and HP were only decent as well. So I don't know if things would have come out differently had those IVs been bottle capped, but the other 4 were ready. And then there was another big hiccup that we'll address when we get into the battle. So let's jump into it. All right, guys. So I matched up with Coach Aboot from the Falador Flapples. Like I said, no prep. Snagged something from his team that I thought he'd bring. He didn't bring it at all. He brought 3 of the 6, so didn't continue a good record. I went ahead and led with Heliolisk for the Volt Switch potential, but because I saw the Togedemaru out there, I figured the fighting type does pretty well against a lot of his team, so I figured I'd just fire off a Focus Blast.
Yeah.
And here's where you can see a little bit of that IV come into play. Focus Blast did a lot, and if I had been max IV'd, I probably would have been doing about half.
Yeah, that looks about half. It would have done more, way more.
Yeah. So again, I'm not really prepared. I didn't do calcs or anything, and I do know some typical Tangrowth sets, and I know that it's very common to see knockoff, and I just switch in Chansey because I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing here.
And like I said, this is like my favorite battle of the SRL. You just like clicking whatever, getting your Chanseys a Violite knocked off.
Second turn, just losing a Violite really hurt, but I was like, whatever, let's get up rocks. I don't play a lot of hazards, and so I want to try to get hazards going in this season, and so I go for the rocks right away. I brought the aromatherapy set instead of the toxic set, which may have kind of bit me in the butt a little bit, but I go ahead and decide to switch out Chansey and go into my Heliolisk and try to force this switch with the Thunder and everything, and that's what I'm thinking that I'm going to do. And I'm like, I have no clue what I'm doing in this matchup because I don't know anything. I'm not ready. I'm just...
You just came from streaming, right? You were just...
Yep. I'm just clicking buttons. It's like, whatever. Let's go Heliolisk. And, I was trying to make decisions quick in this matchup, too, so that I wasn't, like, going to timer. I know I have this bulky team. I predicted the defog. That was right. I knew there was a chance he could have Gigantamaxed and gone for max, whatever that move is. Break screens, get rid of hazards.
Yeah. Wind Rage. But I do like you bringing in Helios because, it definitely forces out the switch from Corviknight. You just get good damage on anything. I just want to say again, if you were max IV'd, you would have done a lot more damage than what you get here with the Thunderbolt.
Yeah. I don't know why I didn't Volt Switch there. I was talking about it. Would have been nice. The Toxic set on Chansey would have kind of been helpful too in this matchup to get this Tangrowth Toxic and kind of take away its maximum regenerator capability.
Yeah.
But we
Regenerator mons, man.
Yeah, we didn't bring it. So Chansey gets hit by the Earthquake there, and I'm just thinking, you know what? Let's just go ahead and get these rocks right back up. I didn't even realize, by the way, that he was the pressure set on Corviknight. Like, I wasn't even paying attention.
Instead of the mirror armor.
Yeah. So it's just all around, just kind of an interesting battle.
You double here, or do you set up the Stealth Rock? Sorry, I haven't watched this in a minute.
I thought I set up the Stealth Rocks, or maybe I do double. I guess I double into my Lodic.
Yeah,
I was predicting how to switch. That's right, because he switched Tangrowth, and I was gonna go my Lodic for the Ice Beam. And then here's one of the best parts of my match, you guys. Here's one of the best parts of my match. Here we find out that Refresh is not a Gen 8 move.
Bruh.
Got it straight from home. Didn't even.
I didn't change anything on it. I didn't. I just grabbed it. I was like, oh, it's already EV trained. I did. I changed the nature.
Yes, we did change the nature.
And I was like, whatever. We'll leave it. Refresh is cool. I can get rid of if somebody statuses me. So
we're out here with 3 moves.
Yeah, that's all right.
Oh, man.
So what was really cool was that it's not the Guts set of Obstagoon, which is very interesting.
Yeah, I was confused.
Yeah, so he's the Reckless.
set?
Yeah, Reckless. Yeah. Running, that double edge and all that kind of stuff. So he doesn't stay in. He gets in Horse as I go for the recover. I was just kind of hoping to live another double edge with Rocky Helmet doing damage. Rocky Helmet was just this last second kind of idea. And a really cool moment that Squid actually called out, I get the burn as somebody that on my friends list logs on with the name Burn. If you didn't see that.
Wow, I just noticed that. Yeah, I did see someone log on. Wow.
So I get the Scald off. I went for the Scald, hoping for the burn on the Reckless ability Obstagoon. And then, so I get this free turn here. I get to recover off. Like I said, 0 prep. I'm like, I don't know what the heck this Rapidash wants to do to me. I can sit in front of this thing. It's burned. He can Swords Dance, but I'm going to put off some damage. And then he reveals that he's got like Morning Light and Wild Charge, and I'm just Morning Sun, not Morning Light.
Yeah.
And so he gets some recovery, and I'm like, crap.
Yeah, that's a lot to recover. I want to say, going for the Scald, like just to backtrack a little bit on Obstagoon was good, because if he went for another double edge with the recoil, Rocky Helmet, and that, it would have been enough to KO. And like you getting the burn here was huge, as he goes for a Wild Charge, and it's like the same thing like with the Obstagoon, Get the Rocky Helmet, recoil, and you also hit it with the Scald.
The combination too of everything. That Wild Charge, recoil, the Rocky Helmet damage, then my Scald, and then the burn damage to get the KO. Huge.
It's like so he got hit 4 times that one turn, and you got hit once.
Yeah. So that was really big. And I'm playing okay for no prep. I'm doing all right. I'm hoping that Mamoswine can take a hit.
Around.
Yeah, I'm hoping that Mamoswine can take a better hit here. And then I think, you know what, actually, let's get this in, and maybe we can get off an Avalanche after some damage. And I wasn't sure what he was going to go. I thought he would go for the Zing Zap, and which I predict that outright. And then I was like, all right, I should be able to take a, whatever you call it.
Ironhead?
Ironhead, yeah. And I make the stupid play to go for Ice Shard when I should have just Avalanched to break the ice balloon. Because I went Ice Shard to break the balloon.
Yes.
Which Avalanche would have been just fine.
Right, because you would have went second. You knew you could live 1, and it does more, right?
Yeah.
You said something about it being at half. Could you explain that a little bit? Well, being at full.
Oh,
or the avalanche.
I live a hit from full and do massive
Right.
damage with avalanche, but I can't live another hit from there, and that's all. I was just rambling in my video.
Okay,
But-
okay, that makes sense.
So I make that play, and I'm like, all right, Mamoswine is more important, I think, than Chansey, and I'm looking for the switch here, and I'm trying to make a play, and I go into Xatu, who is max defense, max HP.
Are
and
you max IV'd?
No. But I didn't know that during the battle. I know I have Heat Wave.
At least we know we got Heat Wave.
It took, honestly, for not being max HP or for not being IV'd in HP, I took that. And this Zing Zap, I take things pretty well. Of course, I missed the Heat Wave.
Of course.
And the Magic Bounce is
So
still
here,
too
what, you're
important
just
to me.
thinking of sacking it?
No, I wanted to keep the Magic Bounce ability. And Zatu's not exactly slow. He's not fast, but he's not slow. So this is where I sack Chansey. So I go into Chansey to basically just let it go down. He plays a nice coverage move with Iron Head over Zing Zap, and which is fantastic. Big damage on the Chansey. And this point, I'm just like, all right, let's just let Chansey go down. Which I think is the right play. We're still at 6-5 here. We've got a good match going. It's not like I'm playing badly. I could have done a couple of things differently, but
I think for what it was, it would have been. It's fine now, and especially if say it again. Here, Pokemon had more IVs. You would have been doing more damage and living hits better. But if Milotic might have had a different move, but. Yeah, I mean it's a good battle so far though.
Yeah. So I like I said, I kind of sacked Chansey because it's not very valuable. And I end up going into Heliolisk and finally learn my lesson. I go ahead and click the Volt Switch, knowing that he continues
this was a
to
great
switch
play.
And to every time that Tangrowth comes in, that thing's at full. It's like, God, this is so annoying.
Yeah, it comes in. You're like, yo, I know I hit this thing before, and it comes back, and you're like, wow. So
regenerators are tough.
Yeah.
And here's where I kind of make the decision to possibly sack Xatu, but also just to make some plays. I'm like, you know what? I could maybe do some things here. I know I'm threatened by a knockoff, but he was more defense. He's showing some defensive and special defense investment. I'm like, maybe I get lucky. I get a burn or something. So let's roll with it. And again, like I said, I'm not max IV'd in special attack. So I wish I could have done more to this Piloswine coming in.
Yeah.
But I go for the Wish on the possible switch, and I get that one right. And now I don't have Protect, so I just kind of gamble here, and I'm like, whatever, let's fire off the Heat Wave. Maybe I'll bring in something else.
I'm thinking he could just go for an Ice Shard here.
He could have, but he didn't. And he actually goes Stealth Rocks. I think he was predicting me to switch to Wish Pass.
But
I'm a Magic
why
Bouncer,
didn't he just
and I get my health back.
Ice Shard. Like, what? Why didn't he just Ice Shard the Xatu? Because
he was trying to make a play.
The Wish would have died, though. Like, if you didn't switch out, the Wish would have died, and he would have gotten the kill. I could see where he might have wanted to just go for the read, but you staying in was just... I don't know. It was just a gamble for both sides.
Yeah. I'm just like, Xatu is not super important to me right now. So I go for another Heat Wave just to put damages out. Maybe picking up burns. Don't get them. But I did land 2 out of 3 Heat Waves. So, all right. Good job, Xatu. Yeah. You bounce some rocks back. You put some rocks over on his side. And
yeah, you got the rocks set up. What, you set him up once, he got him off, and then he said, you know what, I got you. That was totally my fault. I'll put him back up on my side.
And here's the, not the prep of the play, but the play of the match for me is going to this offensive Grim, which I've never brought an offensive Grim before. And this thing puts in work right now. So I get off a power-up punch on this Togedemaru. And honestly, like, this was a perfect kind of progression of moves here. So I have the perfect set to go ahead and Gigantamax here. I get my attack boost. I'm not max anything. I have a weird spread around between defense, attack, and special defense.
Yeah, this is your season one, right?
No, I've never used this.
This
is a random Grim that I've used in other battles and stuff. And so I finally brought it because I didn't want to bring the defensive Grim because I already had Milotic, Mamo, Zatu, and Chansey. I was like, nah, we need an attacker. And so he was kind of balancing me out. So perfect, quick prep, throw on a Babiri Berry on there.
Great berry.
A what?
I said that was a great berry to have in this situation.
So it worked out perfectly. I was Gigantamax to take less damage, then the berry weakened it, and the Togedemaru goes down. And I have a good defensive investment, so I don't take a ton of damage. And the Max Knuckle goes off, gets the KO, and gives me another attack boost. So we're looking good. Things are
at +2.
Yeah,
you're like good defensive, and so you're just bringing up the attack. It's looking really good.
I was honestly feeling kind of optimistic at this point in the battle. I was like, all right, Grim might be able to do this. His team's not fast, and Grim's not ridiculously slow. And then he brings this in, and I'm like, this is the only thing that's faster than me. As a 3-minute timer goes off, and I was like, God, what is this? I completely forget that Obstagoon gets parting shot. And I'm like, why is he just like, I thought he was like sacking, trying to get damage off. And I was like, he can't knock off. I was like, maybe he's going double edge, but I think I'm going to live that from a Gigantamax perspective. The parting shot goes off, takes away one of my attack boosts, but I get it right back with a Max Knuckle on Tangrowth here.
Parting shot drops you by 2 or 1?
Just 1. It's just 1 attack and 1 special attack stat. So
he dropped you, and then you just got it right back.
Yeah, he kept me from going to +3 was all.
+3.
And here's where I have a tough kind of situation. I do a quick look up on Tangrowth because, like I said, no prep. So I was like, I don't know 100%. I'm thinking toxic on Tangrowth, but once I look it up on the damage calc, I see Sleep Powder as the 4th common move, and I'm like, okay. So I'm trying to decide between the rolling for the snooze or going for the Starfall to set up the Misty Terrain, and the Terrain is the right move to go for. I end up doing huge damage and almost KOing this thing. I really wish I could have KO'd it here. So that stab Max Starfall, and he actually goes Sledge Bomb instead of Sleep Powder. It would have been really cool if he would have gone Sleep Powder there. And this is where...
that would have been a great play.
Yeah, that would have been super cool if that would have happened. This is where things are tough for me. I'm trying to make a decision on what to do, and then the timer comes up. And so now I'm forced to kind of reflect on his Pokemon and my Pokemon. We're still 4-4. And now I have to think, okay, who has more HP? And is it wise for me to go for a move? Am I going to let the timer roll? And my decision was that at this current situation, I had more HP. I was like, the obvious play is he's going to switch. I know he's going to switch. So do I let the Corviknight or Obstagoon come in and put damage off and KO me and take away my win, or my possible win? So I sat on the full scope of the timer for this last play, and he did bring in the Corviknight. Had I gone quick, he would have got the Regenerator on the Tangrowth, and he 100% has more HP.
Right. I think... Oh yeah, that did barely anything. I think just going for the attack would have been good too, but like you said, when Tangrowth goes back into his Pokeball, it's gonna regenerate some health. You're not sure if it's gonna put you at a loss there, so it kind of like puts you in a winning position. Yeah.
So now to address the end of the battle, my opponent kind of preemptively disconnected and just giving me the win. They didn't let it roll on the HP, and I'm not sure why, because looking back, the Tangrowth got itself to like 38% of health after the Regenerator. And so, or 34, 35% or something like that. And I do believe, I think, on HP, again, you don't know, that's why you got to let it roll, but there's a chance a Boot won this match. But because he disconnected, I get the win.
You're going to put him at the forfeit, right?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, I would have liked to see what the health rolls were looking like at the end there.
Yeah, I don't know. I think there's a chance. Again, if we could play it out past the timer, that last move where I sat on the full timer, would have been different. I wouldn't have done that. I would have played it out because I would have 100% gone for that power-up punch into the Corviknight coming in, and I would have 100% tried to go toe-to-toe with that Corviknight and put off a really powerful sucker punch at +3. I would have done that. If he had Iron Head, it would have KO'd Grim, but I still had Heliolisk in the bag, which outsped Obstagoon and outsped Corviknight, and I had Focus Blast that I could have put off on the Piloswine. Granted, I wasn't fully IV'd, so that would have played a part in that match. But then I also had Mamoswine, and I had Milotic.
Yeah, Mamo for the Tangrowth and Milotic for the Piloswine.
It's not a clear, easy ending to the battle of like he wins or I win. When I can usually like see the ending, I don't know. I'm not sure.
I think with what you had, it was a pretty high chance for you to win because just to break it down a little bit more, not to over speak on it, but like you said, Sucker Punch on Corviknight, Heliolisk is scarfed, a Volt Switch on Corviknight or Obstagoon. Like I said, you have Milotic. It was at full, I'm pretty sure, for or half for Piloswine. It wasn't going to KO. It looked like you had the end game there.
I agree. I think so. I think we put ourselves in a position where we're still looking pretty strong. Unfortunate on the disconnect. Always let the cards roll. We were on the last turn. I don't know why we didn't let the cards roll. I think that the match could have rolled to a Boot's favor in HP, but we do pick up the win and start the season off with a win. And we continue the streak of Bishmii and Shiny Shuriken not getting wins or losses together.
Yeah, we had to bring it back. When we came back and collabed, that was definitely something we had to bring back.
I do want to
we can't break the curse.
Yeah, I do want to call out actually, by the way, that I had to go back and check, and I just want to call this out. I want to make sure that I'm not taking too long on my turns. I literally went turn by turn and counted how many seconds I had left on the timer. And there were only 3 turns in the entire match that I took over 30 seconds to make my decision. And the 4th turn, of course, being that final one where I sat on the timer on purpose. So I was moving pretty quick with my switches and my adjustments. My team's bulky, and I know that. There was animations going off, of course, between leftovers on Mamoswine for 1 turn, but otherwise, not too much was happening. So I think it was a pretty straight up match. It was just both playing the appropriate switches. So
yeah,
tough match.
The battle went pretty far, but I'm glad you were able to pick up the win, man.
Fargo Phalanx get 1 win. So I'll be interested to see the power rankings assessment of this match.
Yes, very interested.
Yeah. Well, should we take a look at our week 2 matchups?
Yes, sir.
All right, so looking out at my next matchup, I have the Immunity Idols and Coach Mounte. I'm not sure if I'm saying it right.
Yeah, Mounte.
Mounte, okay. Mm-hmm. New coach in the league this season, I believe. And we've got a tough G-Maxer out here with Cinderace.
Yo, Cinderace, man.
But
man.
He does not get access to the Libero ability because he selected the G-Maxer for some reason. So, Libero G-Max is out. So I don't have to worry about that too much, but still, a Blaze G-Max Cinderace is tough. Very, very tough.
Yeah, Cinderace, even before it got Libero, was very hard to deal with. And now, you have the G-Max, that thing, I believe... the max flare from a regular Cinderace is like maybe 140, 150, depending on what you use. But the G-Max move is 160 base power.
Yep.
Yeah.
So there's some tough matchups here. Como O, Galar Weezing, which you're very familiar with those two. And then honestly, looking at the matchup again, we've got a very kind of bulky kind of possible match on our hands.
Yeah.
Dusk
lot of bulk
Noir,
on his
Umbreon, Bronzong, Weezing, Como
I want to
even.
say after his first match, he had to use like a trick room setup with Vikavolt to really put in work. You know, he had the choice specs Vikavolt, so you know that's an option he might go for. Maybe not twice in a row, but he also had Palpitoad that was very bulky. And so I don't know if you were want to go for like a what team can outlast the other or break through, which I definitely can see. You know, you got that Butterfree.
Yeah,
you do have that Butterfree sleep powder.
Oh,
you know,
good old Butterfree. Could it make an appearance?
Oh, reliable. Or even just going for like Whimsicott. What is it? Being a great support for the team with the Tailwind.
Yep. From a G-Max perspective, I've got a tough matchup with Grim versus Cinderace. Of course, Cinderace has access to that Iron Head.
Iron Head, Gunk Shot.
So, hey, maybe we see some Spec Cinderace. Who knows? He could go for some Max Oozes, start boosting his special attack.
No. I don't think Monte has reached that yet. I want to say after his first match, he made a great, strong statement saying that he was going to win the league. I remember him saying that.
Oh, did he? Oh, boy.
Yeah. Yeah, at the end, he, the new kid on the block, you know, he has a strong team, like you said. Great cleric options in Umbreon, but I think, you know, Surfetch looks really good in this matchup with knockoff. What is it? Brave Bird, Close Combat, and Leaf Blade.
Yeah. Knockoff looks really good against his team for sure. From Starmie to Bronzong to Dusk Noir. I mean, very, very good possible option with knockoff Surfetched. Very strong. The Leaf Blade on Palpitoad, of course, doing big work. Leaf Blade on Starmie, things like that. So Surfetch looks really good. There's a lot of Pokemon that honestly look really good on this team. So it'll be a good matchup for sure.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Which I'll try to prep better for.
Or you just book up your schedule and then walk in like, all right, guys, so this is what's going on. Let's hope we could make something happen.
All right, so let's go ahead and hop over to Bishmii's Week 2 matchup and take a look at what he's got. Okay, so we got Bishmii's matchup here, the New York Knickets taking on the Celadon City Porygons, and what's your first take?
Well, looking at the G-Max standpoint, Paparaja should, air quotes, should be able to live any attack from Dreadnought G-Max at full, especially if it's a G-Max standoff, and I know like a Stone Surge is gonna hurt. I can also see that he might do a Rain Dance thing because, funny enough, so the Celadon City Porygons went up against the Idols last week, and his Klefki had Rain Dance on it, Prankster Rain Dance to set up for the Dreadnought G-Max. So you know, I'm looking for him to do something like that. Maybe you know, I'm gonna have to combat that with my Gigalith, and you know, he does have the Arctovish. You know, that thing gets vicious runs is like the counterfeit Dracovish. And yeah, you know, another thing that looks scary is Terrakion, because like I said, Terrakion and Gallade, because my team is literally a close combatter away from dying.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. We have Cobalion, the first four, Cobalion, Copperaja, Excadrill, Gigalith, and then we have, that's 5 out of my 12. So I'm always gonna have to bring somebody that's weak to a fighting type attack. So Terrakion is always a good bring, especially like Choice Scarf. Oh man.
It is kind of interesting too because you do have Cobalion on your team, whereas last season you had Virizion. So
Virizion,
SRL season 4, you guys just wait for the Terrakion bring on the New York Knickets.
Yeah,
Keldeo,
coming up
Keldeo
next.
the following season.
Keldeo season. Yeah. You know, I gotta get all the Swords of Justice. I'm looking forward to them. You know, I couldn't get Virizion, and I still wanted a legendary, so I figured, you know, they're pretty similar, so I decided to pick up Cobalion. Might bring it along with Copperaja, and
Just bring
let's just have
everything
5
that dies to fighting
Pokemon.
types.
Yeah, and Silvally with the Silk Scarf. Up there we go.
Yeah, I like it.
But yeah, I'm looking forward up to this matchup. This is the first time I'm looking at his team. I might even consider bringing Shedinja, to be
if you're weak
one
to
of
fighting
those
types, it can
walls.
cause some havoc.
Yeah.
Shedinja's not bad. I mean, it lost a little ground because it lost Swords Dance, but this is a draft league, so you can bring a past gen
move,
Shedinja.
right?
Yep.
Yeah. And
So-
don't sleep on Reboot or Coughing. They are pre-evolutions, but
I've seen Reboot do some work, especially now. Does Reboot get the Libero ability in this league?
Yes.
Well, in this league,
yes.
you can
Yep.
use Libero Reboot.
Yeah, you could use Libero Reboot and Libero Cinderace, just not the G-Max one.
So weird. So weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So just to go back on like your match, since it's not Libero Cinderace, Grimmsnarl should live Ironhead like a little bit better since it's not Stab, but I'm not sure how anything's gonna be taking hits from this Reboot with the Choice Band. Flare Blitz is looking like it's gonna hit his team hard.
Yeah, Flare Blitz at least doesn't miss like Pyro Ball. Yeah, it'll be an interesting match. Coach Monte and I have also been chatting about trying to get the LAN play set up.
Okay.
I'm sure he wants to try to avoid some timer shenanigans on my bulky team, so we're gonna see what we can do. I've heard about it and I haven't looked too far into it yet, but everything I've ever heard about it is that it's more of a hassle than it is a reward.
Yeah.
But those are our matchups for week 2, our matchups from week 1, and our power rankings, you guys. So the SRL weekly analysis is back. We will again be bouncing back and forth from channel to channel, starting out over here. Next week, we will be over on Bishmii's channel. That is linked up in the description below. Make sure if you have not already, make sure you go out and hit that subscribe button for Coach Bishmii and be ready for that analysis over there for week 2. If you guys haven't subscribed over here for me on Shiny Shuriken, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. And of course, for the video, you guys got to smash that like button and show some love as we are back with a crazy week 1. So
Close combat the like button.
yes, close pretend it's Bishmii's team and close combat that thing.
But yeah, I love going over these matches, having some good times, especially in your battle. That was a fun one. Looking forward to prepping for this team and going forward with the SRL.
Also,
next week on my channel.
Forgot to mention, we're not even in the same division, so we don't match up this season.
Well, we won't have one of those 5-5 timer matches again.
Alrighty.
I miss those.
I don't. I have enough timers in my life. Alrighty, you guys. Well, thank you very much for hanging out with us, and thanks for watching. We will catch you guys next time. See ya.
Peace.